Hey guys, today I'll be talking about access to justice in rural courts and the barriers and limitations faced in rural and remote areas. The topics I'll discuss today are the rule of law and how this relates to access to justice, the lack of legal personnel and the reasons this is so, and digital technology inequalities and how this impacts on the legal system. Access to justice is a principle of the rule of law that is enshrined in Section 14 of the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. It aims towards formal equality and removing barriers which ensure access to legal rights, formal representation, and legal outcomes that are just and equal. However, rural areas lack legal equities compared to urban and metropolitan areas. Law professionals are hesitant to move to rural and remote areas for several reasons, leaving these areas with a shortage of lawyers per capita compared to urban areas. Legal representation is lacking in both quality and quantity, and residents are left in an unfair and unequal position. Studies show that while rural populations expand, legal practices and representation are decreasing in number. Lawyers that move to rural areas rarely stay more than 2 years. There are several suggestions why this is happening. Firstly, there are less incentives and rewards for lawyers to move to rural and remote locations, particularly concerning profitability. Because they can earn the big bucks, so to speak, in the cities, top-quality lawyers and barristers are not interested in moving to rural locations where they earn a fraction of the income. For this reason, country law firms generally attract those with little experience, usually young lawyers that are looking for a foot in the door. The reason that these inexperienced lawyers do not stay for extended periods of time include lack of professional peers to associate with, little or no time for recreation because of their workload, and they feel out of sorts in the rural culture that surround them. Think about it. Why work in an area where you feel socially isolated, earn less money than you could in another area that gives you the opportunity to socialise with a peer group you relate to? Makes perfect sense, right? Another concern in rural courts is the digital divide that exists compared to urban areas. The lack of digital technology affects the court administration, magistrate, lawyers, and those being represented. One major issue is the lack of high-speed internet access in some locations and the possibility of being disconnected from remote hearings. This not only puts strain on the defendant, but the entire court staff, including the magistrate. The ability to email documents to a lawyer is taken for granted in urban areas. However, many rural residents do not have internet access due to remoteness, leaving them at a disadvantage. This can hold up the process of preparing for an upcoming court case, end in an adjournment or unsatisfactory legal representation. The inability to email documents can also affect the productivity of court administration, who may end up with many face-to-face encounters with those needing to lodge affidavits and other legal documents before their hearing. This is also the case for lawyers, who would usually correspond by email in many circumstances, but the option is unavailable with the lack of digital technology. With all of these issues taken into consideration, accessing justice in many areas has issues. From the lack of legal representation to the issues that are experienced with digital technology, the rural court system denies rural residents of equality within the rule of law. Thank you for watching, and follow the links provided for more information on the topic.